A police officer starts at a very high level of altruism. They want to look and see what they've done is create a more peaceful world and people getting along better and less crime and all the kinds of things that we would like them to accomplish. They're frustrated in that task, and after a period of time, 5 or 7 years, they find a great deal of futility in that. Crime keeps going on, that judges let criminals out before they're done with the paperwork sometimes, that the situation doesn't improve, and that they enter into an awful lot of situations that they just can't resolve. It's very difficult for them. Their altruism starts to break down, and when their own personal lives begin to be affected by the brutal hours that they serve and the kinds of things they have to absorb emotionally from the things they see in the field that they can't really give to their wives or husbands or children because they're so toxic, that kind of builds up in them, and it makes them feel toxic. Yeah. So they need the help. Yeah, that's the primary deal for a chaplain is to go to the police themselves and be a chaplain to them. David Osborne is a remarkable minister, and I think everywhere he comes, he spreads joy. I think that it's impossible to be depressed around David. I think the officers really kind of enjoy his presence there among them.
They actually came to my office and asked me if I'd be interested in being the police chaplain. I didn't have a clue. It took me about 6 months. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to. And, you know, Adventists have a reputation of being very insular. We don't get involved with anything with our community unless it has something to do with alcohol or tobacco, or we think it's going to have something to do with some Sunday law or something. And to have somebody that's just a real person dealing with other real people within the community. And this, you're on the inside when you're working with police, because you're working with all the city governments, you're working with county governments, and but you're in a role where you're the good guy, and they appreciate you.
I think it's good for the community. You know, if there's chaplains out and about, and we have something that you know, it gets pretty heated and emotional, and it's nice to have somebody to turn to, because like you said, sometimes we're just stuck doing, you know, the work part of it. We don't get to be that shoulder that people need sometimes, you know, and so if there's a chaplain there that's available for that.
The chaplains provide a variety of support, and to define support, it would be in the areas of death notifications. Unfortunately, things like that happen, accidents, criminal acts, and an officer doesn't have the luxury to spend time with that family, or the person that's grieving, or the person that's lost a loved one or relative.
And then there becomes, you know, the occasional time, I think, when a cop needs somebody to talk to. Like I said, the job can wear on you.
I really enjoy the ride-alongs because you have no idea what you're going to get. I mean, it can be a call to call to call to call, or you can be just driving around and absolutely nothing is happening. But the point of it is that you get acquainted with the police officers, they feel comfortable with you, and pretty soon they feel like, you know, you're part of the team, and they're very close, the police are. And so to have somebody on the inside that they trust, that they know, that they can talk to, and that they know it's totally confidential, it doesn't go out anywhere, so they can talk to you about maybe situations happening at home, or they have a hard time with burnout because their adrenaline is going. They're very intense. I mean, it's just they come home and they just have to crash because it's so intense sometimes. And so getting to see them with their work, and they get to know you and feel comfortable with you, that's really a lot of fun. So that's enjoyable.
Well, there is a minimum qualification generally. We require that somebody is an ordained or licensed minister of a recognized religious body, but it is multi-denominational. It cannot exclude you know, Jewish rabbis or other recognized groups if they apply, if they desire to be part of it. We must be religiously open to that kind of thing. In our department, we take 1 day a week where we're available to be on call, be the primary on-call chaplain. If something arises, they'll call us from the dispatch and we'll go out. So availability is very important, and caring for the police, and not wanting to be one of them, yet be willing to share a little of the excitement with them, and not be afraid of that, because we'll be going into situations where we're going to see more death than most ministers ever see. We're going to see tragedy and difficult parts of the society that we would not otherwise see, and be ready to suspend judgment somewhat on that, and wade through that part of humanity that needs the light of God too.
My opinion is that all police agencies should have some relationship with their community pastors and develop them into a police chaplain position. And so to go about starting one, it's one of two ways. Either the police department has the initial interest and they take the time and energy to go out and contact chaplains. My opinion is that that won't happen a lot because they don't have the time. So I encourage community pastors to approach their police department, begin a dialogue, and open up that door. My opinion is that most police departments would allow that partnership to take place. But I believe it's going to need to come from the community pastors first.
It has just opened up whole worlds. And not only do I have a whole new group of pastors who I have gotten to not curse with. I mean, we've worked together now for so long that we're very good friends. But now I've gotten to meet, the mayor, all the city councilmen. I go and pray in the city council. It's given me an in to get acquainted to this community. I've only been here for 3 years, and I already am heavily involved in the infrastructure of the church just through contacts that have been made through this program with the Chico Police. So I think it's been a great benefit for me